So the final day arrived that we had to pack up our gear in order to go back home to Cape Town. And we'll be lying if we had to say we were not a little bit sad that this journey in this amazing country had to come to an end. So after we packed up our camping gear, we left ours in the direction back to Keetmanshoop and eventually took the dirt road, the D545, heading down towards Canyon Roadhouse and the Fish River Canyon in order to get in our last two stops of our journey before heading back towards Cape Town. Again hitting the dirt roads in Namibia, you might as well have been driving on a normal tarmac highway, or might my opinion be due to the vehicle that we are driving in on these dirt roads that makes it feel so amazing. And again, I must admit, buying this Toyota Hilux was not a bad decision whatsoever. So finally we pulled into the Canyon Roadhouse and started exploring to all the amazing and fascinating bits and pieces of art scattered all over the walls and all over the premises. With our friend being a huge classic car fanatic and a classic car rebuilder himself, to gloom and study to as many as possible items that we could find around. The longer you sat down in a restaurant and took notice of all the finer details platted onto the walls all around you, it was quite amazing how many different cultures, languages, once again backgrounds, as well as creative art were combined in order to bring this place up onto the level that you will find it today. Kind of earlier as we sat down, I noticed a little bell ringing every 5 to 10 minutes as if somebody's food that they ordered were ready. Or, I don't know, some kind of indication for the waiters that they had to report to the kitchen, or whatever duties there are to be carried out for the day. Eventually, when I hit the men's restroom and I saw this big old poster on the wall with this little box in the soft spot called Pandora's box, and I had to open in order to see what this funny box was all about. And immediately it struck me as the bell rang that this was what was happening all the time. Each time some curious bastard like myself had to open Pandora's box, the bell rang on the restaurant side. On a serious note, guys, please make sure that you have enough time in your hands to read through all the humor on the walls, from top to bottom, side to side, as there are lots of bits and pieces on the walls, in all kinds of eras, languages, and cultures, so make sure you don't miss any of the finer details. Then, after the Canyon Roadhouse, it was off to one of our major checks on our list, the Fish River Canyon itself. From what we could find on the internet before we attempted this trip, it seemed amazing, and none of us could wait to first-hand experience and witness this geographical icon. And I have to admit, once we were there, and you simply stared into this mysterious geological history in front of you, it simply takes your breath away, and you realize how tiny we as the human species are in this galaxy. And if you find yourself to be one of the minor fortunate ones, all you can do is simply to witness, observe, and appreciate what this planet and all the continents on it has to offer. So sadly, as the sun was busy setting, we had to leave the Fish River Canyon in order to make it our final destination for the night, once again Norochama, before we headed back to Cape Town the following morning. So after settling in at Norochama, we kind of recapped on the whole journey, with everyone sharing their thoughts and experiences and already talking about planning the next journey. Definitely, this time we will take it a lot slower, spend more time in one area in order to capture more detail and just relax instead of trying to cover distance and drive yourself silly each day in order to get to the next stop. We will most definitely return to Namibia again, only maybe next time around enter from the Kalahari side in order to see more on the way in, rather than just hitting the endless tar road from Cape Town all the way onto the N7 via Springbok in order to get to the border. Rather hit the road towards the Northern Cape on the Uppington side and crossing the border at Ariamsvlei, or via the border post within the Kalahari. And of course, spend a little bit more time to capture a little bit more detail in order to share it with you as the viewer, and perhaps for those guys who are also thinking about planning visiting Namibia. Maybe there's something within this content that will help you plan your journey in order to make it as smooth and as knowledgeable as possible. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to hit the button below in order not to miss future content coming up. from my wife and myself, thank you very much for following and watching our content, and we'll see you with the future content. Please keep well, stay safe, look after yourself, and see you in the future content that we'll provide.